Well, good morning, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. It is the 5th of October, 2020, day 202 remote. For those of you that like countdowns, we only have 76 days until winter, yikes, and 81 days until Christmas, a double yikes. A lot of folks say, why do you say the real Captain Kirk? And I say, back in the day, dating myself here, I was, some 30 years ago, met this pretty famous general and forever changed how we think here. So we do year-ahead weather forecasting. I know that sounds crazy, and it is. If you use traditional meteorology and physics and fluid dynamics, which we're trained in college, and me and Rutgers many moons ago. At the end here, we'll talk a little bit of our year-ahead outlooks and how our clients use it. And a Weather Channel meteorologist that told me what I do is impossible, so even though we've been doing it for so many years now. Real quick, before we get to that, we'll look at last week here, 27 September through 3 October. Now, this big map is versus a year ago, how our retail customers like to look at the change in the weather so they can understand the change in their sales. Very cold here in the U.S., eastern two-thirds of the country, 5.7 degrees cooler than last year, making it the coolest in 11 years for the U.S. Canada, about 8.1 degrees warmer, so the warmest in 10 years. Warm spot there up in Russia, too, warmest in 8 years. Europe, a little bit cooler, Australia, a little bit cooler, and real hot down in Brazil, 3.1 degrees hotter than last year, but making it the hottest in over 35 years. Rainfall was down about 30% in the U.S. versus last year, 15th driest in 35 years. And snowfall, we had a big snow last year, not this year. Snowfall down 98%, so least snow in decades here for the U.S. as we start early October. One thing that's expanding rapidly here is, as we projected a year ago, that is dry to drought conditions. We're already at 62% of the country actually in D0, D4 phases, according to the USDA folks, making the dry since 2012. Unfortunately, we believe this is a 2-year trend, and you're going to see this all the way into 2021. So a very concerning farm season here for the ag industry next year. It's already been challenging for certainly the folks out in Iowa and parts of the plains this year. Next year's worse, unfortunately. So again, a 2-year cycle here with the La Nina, among other cycles. Farmers here, again, if you like what we do, it's over on agriculture.com. It's successful farming folks. A lot of folks say, hey, Bill, you're coming up your stories here with that beautiful piece of equipment moving about, harvesting there. In any event, every week we produce some cool stories over on ag.com. And it's really just, again, talking a lot about our FarmCast solutions and our year-ahead solutions for farmers every mile on Earth. So it's pretty cool technology. And folks can set up alerts for just about anything they can dream of. And we'll alert you days, weeks, months, even a year ahead on when those conditions might happen. One thing that is down here actually this year, farmers haven't had to worry about too much this year, has been tornadoes, down 31% versus a year ago. So totals about 1,160 of these, down 6% below average and down 46% from the epic 2011 season. One thing, however, that's not down is hurricanes. We are on a record-shattering pace here for sure. This will be the most active season on record, breaking the 2005 record. So here we've already had 26 named storms as of today. 2005 had 19 at this point and went on to have 30. So we are going to crush that for sure. So unfortunately, we have another system here to talk about here today, and that's going to be Tropical Storm Delta, number 26. Unfortunately, I don't know what's up with Louisiana this year, but it's just not their year. Models are only suggesting a Cat 1, 2, maybe 3 hurricane for landfall late Thursday, Friday in the Louisiana area. Keep in mind there can be a 150-mile error this far out, but something to be concerned about for Thursday, Friday. Every single model there is guaranteed landfall. There's no doubt about it. Probably in the, again, north central Gulf. So anywhere from Louisiana, Mississippi, maybe even Alabama, you need to be on guard for this one. Some models take this to Cat 4, and that's been kind of the trend this year, that stronger than anticipated. So look out. This week, 5 through 11 October here, again, 3.7 degrees warmer. So the cool down we've had here is over, warmer than last year, 4th warmest in 35 years nationally. So where we had all the big snows last year, we had about 17% of the country with snow on the ground. Last year in the Rockies, the Plains, the Minnesotas, Dakotas, last year with the big storm, not this year, near record hot weather. Driest in 5 years, 14th warmest and wettest in 35 years, so average, but a lot of that rain is just due to the southeast rainfall. Snowfall down again, 100% from last year. So last year was second snowiest in 35 years. This year, nothing across the country. Looking at next week, 12 through 18 October, about 4.7 degrees warmer than last year, 4th warmest in 35 years. So again, very hot pattern, pretty much eastern half of the country. Cool down in the Rockies, where we may actually see a bit of snow in the high elevations here. Probably won't make it, obviously, out of the Rockies, but snowfall still down 12% versus last year, 3% least in 3 years, still 11th most in 35 years. Wettest in 6 years, 3rd wettest in 35 years. And again, got to watch the tropics because we still think We have a lot of systems, unfortunately, here probably to contend with through the next month and a half or so through the hurricane season. Again, a lot of folks say what we do is impossible here, and we'll show a little bit of how we do what we do. But using statistics in 24 climate cycles, and it's a trillion times a billion statistics, so it's a lot of math. I don't usually show our year-ahead accuracy on a daily level for the U.S., but trending at 88% here, so it's done really well capturing this cooler September, coolest in 8 years, but the big warm up here in October. So these bars were forecast a year ago, and the dotted line's actual. The error in this is actually less than a 2-week forecast. So again, the Weather Channel meteorologist says that we can't do what we do. Well, we can because we've been doing it for 30 years. Looking at NOAA, again, you're familiar with these products where they said in March, just a week before March, it'd be cold and dry, and then right as March was starting, they changed their mind to hot and wet, and that's actually what happened. It was the third hottest in history, kind of what we had projected a year ago. This blue line is what our year ahead forecast would say over the last decade, and then the orange line is NOAA's month ahead. So this is apples and oranges in that regard, in the sense that our forecast is year ahead, and their probabilistic forecast is just a month ahead. So again, outperforms traditional physics and meteorology almost all the time. So again, the outputs that we provide for customers are much more detailed. This is a year ahead by week, by sales forecast, by category for 10,000 seasonal items everywhere on Earth. So it's a lot of crazy math, but works. And if it didn't work, we wouldn't work with some of these really successful, admired companies around the world. So again, what we do sounds crazy to the folks that think like meteorologists, and I am a meteorologist, as our entire team is. But again, you think differently, statistics and cycles, there is a better way to project the weather and sales outcomes a year ahead. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week, and we will be back here this time next week.